Hey, have you ever sat across from someone you love, your mom, your dad, your grandparent, and noticed something's off? Maybe they're quieter than they used to be, or they move a little slower, or their spark just isn't quite there. You brush it off thinking, oh, they're just getting older. But deep down, there's this little voice whispering, what if it's more than that? What if you're missing something big? I'm talking about those tiny changes that tug at your heart, the ones that make you wonder if they're okay, really okay. You don't want to think about it, but you can't shake the feeling. That's why you're here, isn't it? You want to know what's going on and how to help. Listen, those small shifts you're seeing, they might seem like no big deal, just part of aging. But here's the thing, ignoring them could mean missing signs that could change how your loved one lives out their golden years. We're talking about their health, their happiness, their dignity. You want them to feel loved and cared for, not just now, but for as long as possible, right? That's why this video matters so much. So today, I'm diving into 5 things you absolutely need to stop doing right now if you or someone you love is in their senior years. These are mistakes we all make. Yep, even me, because we don't know better, but they could be quietly hurting the people we care about most. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to watch for and simple ways to step in before it's too late. Trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for this. If you're watching this because you want to be there for someone in their later years, whether it's your parent, your grandparent, or even yourself, drop "I'm here" in the comments below. Let me know you're with me. And hey, if you want more tips like this to keep your loved ones healthy, happy, and thriving, hit that subscribe button for ElderTalks Daily. It's your go-to for real talk about caring for the people who mean the world to you. Let's do this together. Picture your dad, who used to light up at the table during Sunday dinners, piling his plate high with all his favorites. Now you notice he's just pushing food around, barely taking a bite, or even skipping meals altogether. You think, maybe he's just not hungry today, or he's always been a little picky. But what if it's more than that? What if those uneaten plates are trying to tell you something important about his health, something you can't afford to miss? See, as we get older, our bodies change in ways that can make eating less enjoyable. The metabolism slows down so you don't feel as hungry. Taste buds start to fade, so even favorite foods might not seem as exciting. That's normal to a point. But when someone suddenly loses their appetite or stops eating like they used to, it could be a sign of something bigger, maybe digestive issues, a dip in their mood, or even the early stages of a health condition that needs attention. It's not just about food, it's about what's going on inside their body and their heart. Now here's where a lot of us get it wrong. You might think, oh, they're just being stubborn, or they'll eat when they're hungry. So you try to nudge them to finish their plate or cook bigger portions, hoping they'll come around. But pushing like that can backfire. It might stress them out, make them dread meal times, or worse, lead to malnutrition if the real issue isn't figured out. Forcing food doesn't fix what's really going on. It just buries it deeper. So what can you do instead? Start small and gentle. Try offering smaller, nutrient-packed meals or snacks throughout the day. Think smoothies, hearty soups, or even little bites of their favorite fruits. These are easier to manage and can still give them the energy they need. Sit with them, have a quiet chat, and ask how they're feeling. Are they down? Is something hurting? Sometimes a simple question opens the door to what's really going on. And if this loss of appetite sticks around for more than a week or two, don't wait. Talk to their doctor. It might be a quick fix, or it could catch something early that makes all the difference. Appetite changes are just one red flag, but there's another big mistake we make: brushing off their constant tiredness. You've probably seen it, and it's easy to think it's no big deal. But let's dive into why that's a problem next. Someone you know used to be the life of every family gathering. You can still hear their laugh, the way they'd spin stories that kept everyone glued, or how they'd be up and moving, full of energy. But now something's different. They're dozing off in the middle of the day, barely making it through a conversation, or moving like every step takes everything they've got. It's tempting to think, well, that's just what happens when you get older. But what if that crushing tiredness is a signal a whisper from their body that something's not right. Sure, aging slows us all down a bit. The body doesn't snap back like it did decades ago, and a long day might leave you feeling like you need a nap. That's part of the deal. But when someone's so exhausted they're fading away, skipping the things they love, nodding off at the drop of a hat, or looking like they're carrying the weight of the world, that's not just getting old. It might be their heart struggling to keep pace, a thyroid that's gone off track, or even a medication that's quietly stealing their spark. Sometimes it's as simple as not getting enough water or nutrients, but it's always a clue you can't afford to brush off. Here's where we slip up. You see them yawning, napping more, and you think, they're just tired, a good rest will fix it. Or you tell yourself it's normal for their age, so you don't dig deeper. But letting that exhaustion slide can mean missing something that could be fixed, something that could bring back their energy, their joy, their life. If you look the other way, you're not just letting today slip by. You're giving a bigger issue room to grow. So how do you step in with love? Start small. Invite them for a quick walk, maybe just around the block or to the garden. A little movement can lift their spirits more than you'd guess. Peek at their day. Are they sipping water regularly? Even a little dehydration can hit hard and leave them sluggish. Ask gently about their sleep. Are they actually resting, or are they up all night? And here's a big one. Check with their doctor about their medications. Some pills can make you feel like you're wading through fog, and a small change might set them free. If the tiredness hangs on, don't wait. Push for a doctor's visit to figure out what's really going on. You're not just helping them stay awake. You're helping them stay connected to the moments that matter most. Tiredness like that is a red flag. But there's another mistake we make that's even easier to miss: overlooking shifts in their mood. It's the kind of thing that tugs at your heart when you start to notice. Let's dive into that next. You've probably noticed someone who used to keep everyone glued with their stories, their voice warm and full of life, always ready to share a laugh or a memory. But now they're not the same. They're snapping over little things, like the TV being too loud, or they're barely saying a word, sitting off in a corner like they're lost in their own head. You might think, hey, they're just in a funk, or they've always been a bit moody. But what if that sharpness or silence is more than a bad day? What if it's their way of saying something's wrong, and it's time to listen? Getting older can mess with your emotions in ways that sneak up. The brain changes, making it harder to keep feelings in check. Mix that with the ache of feeling alone, the grind of constant pain, or even the quiet start of something like memory trouble, and it's no surprise someone might seem off. It's not just about being grumpy or wanting to be left alone. It's about what's weighing on their heart or stirring in their body. When they're suddenly irritable or pulling away, it could be a signal they need you more than ever. Here's where we trip up. You see them get short-tempered or go quiet, and you shrug thinking, that's just who they are now, or they'll snap out of it. You might even tiptoe around them, hoping not to set them off. But ignoring those mood swings can mean leaving them to struggle with something big. Maybe sadness, pain, or a health issue, without the help they need. Letting it slide doesn't just dim their light today. It risks missing something that could have been caught early. So how do you show up for them? Lean in with kindness. Carve out time for a real conversation. Ask about their favorite old movie or what's been on their mind. Sometimes just listening while they talk about the weather or an old friend can lift a cloud. Try doing something small together, like sorting through a drawer of keepsakes or watering the plants. It's less about the task and more about the connection. If they're still off week after week, gently nudge them toward a doctor's visit. You could say, let's just check in to make sure you're feeling your best. It might be a simple fix like tweaking a medication or a chance to get support for what's weighing them down. You're not just boosting their mood, you're reminding them they're seen and loved. Shifts in mood are huge, but there's another mistake we make that can slip right by: overlooking their physical struggles. It's the kind of thing that hides in plain sight until it hits you hard. Let's get into that next. You know someone who used to carry the day with a kind of quiet fire. She'd be out in her yard, kneeling in the dirt, humming as she planted roses that bloomed brighter than anything else on the block. Or she'd sink into that worn-out chair by the window, the one with the faded cushion, and lose herself in a book for hours. But now you see her hesitate. She grabs the counter before she takes a step, her face tightening for a split second. She waves it off, saying, "Oh, I'm just a bit creaky today." You nod, thinking, that's just how it goes when you're older. But what if that quick grimace is a secret she's keeping, a pain that's clawing at her every move? Getting older brings its share of soreness. Joints stiffen up, muscles protest after a long day, and the body keeps a tally of every year. That's no surprise, but when someone's battling pain that won't quit, when they flinch at every step, sidestep their favorite routines, or hold their breath just to stand, it's not just aging. It could be arthritis sinking its teeth in, nerves misfiring with sharp stabs, or even a tiny fracture they're powering through. So many folks in their later years swallow their pain. They'll grit their teeth and smile, not wanting to trouble you or admit they're struggling. But that quiet strength can mask a problem that's growing, stealing their ease and their independence. We slip up when we see those clues and look the other way. She's slower now, skipping her walks or avoiding that chair, and we think, aches come with the territory, or she's tough, she'll say something if it's serious. But assuming it's nothing big can mean leaving her to wrestle with a hurt that might have been soothed with the right help. That pain isn't just a bother, it can trap her in her own home, strip away the things she loves, and chip away at her spirit if we don't step in. So how do you help her take back her days? Keep your eyes open. Notice if she's bracing herself to move, leaning hard on furniture, or dodging tasks she used to do without a thought. Then sit with her and ask, gentle as you can, "You seem like you're hurting a little. Everything okay?" It's not about pressing her. It's about letting her know you see her. If she opens up, hear her out like her story matters. Suggest small ways to ease the strain, maybe a warm pack for stiff joints or a short, slow stretch to loosen things up. Something like water aerobics or a gentle walk can keep her moving without pushing too far. And here's the big one. Nudge her to see a doctor. A visit might bring a plan, maybe a new medication, a brace, or some physical therapy that gives her relief. You're not just helping her hurt less, you're helping her bloom again, like those roses she loves. Physical pain is a heavy load, but the final mistake we'll cover is one we all make: ignoring their need for social connection. That's where the story turns next. There's a man who used to own the room at every get-together. He'd be at the table, cards snapping under his fingers, his laugh so big it pulled everyone in. Those nights buzzed with his stories, tales of old adventures, clever quips that had folks doubled over. But now his days are hushed. He's home alone, blinds half drawn, the TV's hum filling a house that feels too still. You see him and think, he's probably okay, just wants his quiet. But what if that silence isn't calm? What if it's a loneliness so heavy it's dimming the man he's always been? As years add up, keeping connected gets harder. Friends slip away, some gone for good, others just out of reach, and stepping out isn't so easy anymore. Maybe the drive's too much, or the world moves too fast. But make no mistake, the need for people, for shared laughs, for someone to listen, burns as bright as ever. We're wired for connection, and seniors feel that ache deep in their bones. When it's missing, it's not just a bad day. Loneliness can drag them into sadness, cloud their thoughts, even sap their body's strength, like a weight they can't shake. And too often they stay quiet, afraid they're a burden, or thinking no one's got time for their stories anymore. We miss the mark when we see him alone and call it peace. He's always liked his space, and we tell ourselves. Or he'd say something if he needed us. But that's not the truth. Isolation often creeps in because he feels forgotten or because the chances to connect have dried up. Looking the other way doesn't just leave his days hollow. It can tip him into a darkness that a little warmth could have kept at bay. So, how do you rewrite his story? Show up with heart. Pick up the phone and talk. Not a quick check-in, but a real chat. Ask about those card games, the best hand he ever played, or what's on his mind. Better yet, knock on his door with a couple of mugs and some time to spare, letting old memories spill out. Pull him into something small, a family dinner, a slow drive past places he loves. And make it simple. Maybe say, "I'll swing by." If he's ready for more, nudge him toward a place where he can shine again, like a senior club for coffee and stories, or a group where he can shuffle cards and trade laughs. Even a fleeting moment, a shared grin, a quick call, can feel like a spark in the dark. You're not just passing time, you're bringing him back to life. Now that we've walked through these 5 critical mistakes, let's pull it all together and talk about what they mean for you and the people you hold close. It's tough, isn't it? Watching someone who's always been your rock, the one who taught you how to tie your shoes, who cheered the loudest at your games, or whose stories still echo in your heart, start to fade. You see them wince when they walk, hear the edge in their voice, or notice the way they sit alone, quieter than they used to be. It hits you like a wave, this ache that comes from seeing them struggle. Some days it feels like you're standing on the sidelines, helpless, wondering if there's anything you can do to bring back the person they were. That weight, that worry, it's real and it's okay to feel it. You're not alone in carrying it. But here's where the story shifts. You don't have to stay stuck in that worry. Every mistake we've talked about, missing their loss of appetite, brushing off their tiredness, overlooking their moods, ignoring their pain, or letting them slip into loneliness, is a chance to step in. You're not just putting out fires, you're building something beautiful. By noticing those small signs and acting on them, you're weaving a safety net of care around them. You're giving them days filled with ease, moments of connection, and the dignity of being seen. It's not about fixing everything, it's about showing up with love, piece by piece, to make their later years glow with warmth and meaning. So don't let another day slip by. If you've seen any of these signs, a skipped meal, a tired sigh, a sharp word, a hidden wince, or a too quiet house, reach out. Today, pick up the phone and ask, "How's your day going?" Not just to hear the answer, but to let them feel your presence. Sit with them, share a laugh, or walk together, even if it's just to the porch. If something feels off, nudge them toward a doctor's visit, not with a heavy hand, but with a gentle, "Let's make sure you're feeling your best." Those small moves, listening, showing up, acting, aren't small at all. They're the threads that hold their world together, the ones that say, "You matter to me." Caring for someone in their senior years is a road with twists and bumps. It's not always easy, and there'll be days when you feel stretched thin. But every moment you spend, every question you ask, every hand you hold, it adds up. You're not just keeping them healthy, you're giving them a life where they can still smile, still share their stories, still feel the love that's always been there. With your heart, your patience, and the know-how you've got now, you're writing a chapter for them that's full of light. You're stronger than you know, and you're making their days brighter than you can imagine. Keep going. You've got this. Let's wrap this up by going over those 5 signs one more time and talking about what you can do next to keep those you love shining. So let's bring it all together. Those 5 traps we've walked through: missing when they stop eating, shrugging off their exhaustion, letting their mood shifts slide, overlooking their pain, and leaving them to face loneliness, are more than just mistakes. They're signals, quiet but urgent, that someone you cherish needs you to step up. When you spot their plate untouched, their eyes heavy, their words sharp, their steps cautious, or their days too solitary, that's your moment to act. Those signs aren't just problems. They're your chance to wrap them in care, to keep their world steady and bright. By tuning in, you're not just helping them through today, you're building a tomorrow where they can still laugh, share their stories, and feel the warmth of home. Now I want to hear from you. Maybe you've seen one of these signs lately. A loved one who's quieter than usual, pushing food around, or spending too much time alone. Or maybe you found a way to break through, like a small trick to get them smiling, or a doctor's visit that changed everything. Drop your story in the comments below. What's been your experience? What's worked for you? Your words could spark an idea for someone else watching, someone who's feeling the same worry or searching for the same answers. Let's build a space here at ElderTalks Daily where we lift each other up, sharing what we've learned to make those we love feel seen and supported. If this video struck a chord, if it helped you see those signs in a new light or gave you a nudge to act, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button. It's a small click, but it helps spread this advice to more people who need it. And if you want to keep getting tips like these, real, practical ways to care for the seniors in your life, subscribe to ElderTalks Daily. It's your way to stay in the loop, with insights that make a difference, delivered straight to you. One tap, and you're part of a community that's all about keeping those golden years truly golden. Before I go, I just want to say thank you for being here. You're watching this because you care, because you're the kind of person who wants to make life better for someone who means the world to you. That dedication, that love, it's powerful. It's what keeps families strong, what makes memories last, what turns hard days into ones filled with hope. You're doing something incredible, and I'm honored to be in your corner. Stay strong, keep learning, keep loving with all you've got. I'll be back soon with more ways to support the people who light up your life. Until then, take care, and let's keep making those moments count.